Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Kev Play. This is Kevin, and we are on episode 26 of The Last of Us Part 2. Last time we kind of came a little full circle because I mentioned last week that it took us 25 parts to get to the door, the hospital door where Joel breaks in and sees Ellie on the operating table. It took 25 parts in the first Last of Us for me to do that, and it was kind of interesting how it kind of brought us back in our 25th part of part two. It brought us back to that door, but through Ellie's lens. And at first, it kind of feels like a nightmare. Like maybe she's trying to or maybe her subconscious is screaming at her to that there's something not right about what Joel told her. But then I like how it's revealed how it actually is physical reality, and she actually it's her in her later, post the first game or whatever, and she's going to revisit and see what she can find, see if there was something that might lend itself to why she might feel off or suspicious or uh, uncomfortable with how things were left with that. So yeah, we kind of came full circle. Um, we found Nora, who was one of the people in the room when Joel was killed by Abby, and Ellie kind of brought herself to a level in which she has never really been, and where she really kind of embodied Joel in a way, in being that person who gets answers out of somebody. And I don't think Ellie's comfortable with how with her being in that position and this road that she's going down. She's starting to feel the wear and tear of morality, her soul, spiritually, of this her, or is she broken from what the love and that she feels towards Joel, and the impact that he had on her and everything to survive in a world like this. So it's very messed up. But basically, Ellie kind of um, stooped to a very low level in order for her to get an answer out of Nora. But yeah, that was that, and now we're back. Hello, Peppa Pig. How's it going? And now we're in Seattle, day 3. We're in this kind of dressing room. We're back at the base, the theater. So
Gina?
let's see.
Jesse? The war, the merrier. Hey, look, Joel. It's your favorite.
Curtis and Viper. Are you ready for the Game of the Year nominees next week? Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's gonna be. It's gonna be some. It's gonna be. It's. I'm sure all 6 will be worthy because this is a great year. Um, I don't know if they're going to be doing something where they're going to make more nominees because there are a lot of really great nominees. Or are they going to be disciplined and be like, nope, 6 is the cutoff. Even if it was a great year, we gotta kind of um, pick the best of the best of what's going to get nominated. But I don't know. We'll see. Um, but yeah. I guess we're backstage on the theater part of this. Yeah, it should be 6. And I know we talked about what our predictions for those nominees were last time. But yeah, you know, like I'm sure you've seen, I platinum Spider-Man 2. Um, it's it's an excellent, excellent game. Definitely in my running for game of the year without a doubt. Um, I kind of want to have some distance from it though before I really make that call on whether it is or not. Because I feel like every single game I play, as soon as I'm done playing it, I'm ready to be like, yep, yep, this is amazing. This like let me get like I feel like I need to get some distance from it first. But I really loved it. I thought it was great. Definitely a great game. Yep. I mean, they did a great job, and I have to say, I I don't think between the movies and the Spider-Man games, I feel like the games are are the installments that got me the most intrigued and most excited about the world of Spider-Man, more than the movies ever did. I feel like the movies came out at a weird time for me because like the first like Sam Raimi movie came out in like 2002. So by that time, in 2002 I'm 12. And by that time The Matrix came out in 1999. So that was already like a more deeply well thought out philosophical, more mature action adventure that became its own kind of like franchise. So I was really between 1999 and 2003, I was like a Matrix person. So when you have when the teacher, my seventh grade teacher, wheels out Spider-Man on a TV cart and shows us Spider-Man, for me I was just like, this is cool, but it's like for me like when you're 12 years old, you're at an age where you're trying to really grow up, or like you're really interested in the more mature stuff. So a lot of something like Spider-Man, which is a lot more lighthearted, and especially since it was exploring like uh, you know Peter Parker going through school, and he has this crush on Mary Jane, and um, he's dealing with all these like um, bullies at school or whatever. Not that I really dealt with bullies at school, but I did deal with some. There were some like asshole kids in my grade, and I guess like Spider Man. When I saw Spider Man, I was like, this isn't really an escape. This just makes me feel the same uncomfortableness that I'm feeling now as like as a middle schooler or whatever. Even though it's in high school, I know, but yeah, and then The Dark Knight comes out in 2008, and that's like the one that's when superhero movies start. That's when it really started to capture my attention. Where I was like, okay, this is like a dark Batman story, and the Joker, and that kind of took. So like Spider-Man just came out at a weird time where it was like I was already into like more mature stuff, and then my gateway into like the comic book genre or world was kind of swept up by Batman. But I have to say, the games make me appreciate and admire the world of Spider-Man more than the movies did, to the point where I've decided to revisit the movies and give it and kind of watch it in a different lens now. Now that I'm older, and I know like I watched the first one. If you become a Spider-Man fan, I recommend the Spider-Verse movies. They are masterpieces. I remember that being a big getting a lot of praise. The TV cart brings back memories. Yep. That was one of the movies they would show us. That and like Napoleon Dynamite and Ferris Bueller's Day Off and movies like that. Yeah, Dark Knight blows everything out of the water. Yeah, I mean, it really, like, I have to say, I thought so. I watched the first two Spider-Man movies. I watched the second one yesterday and the first one 2 days ago. I have to say the first half of the movie, I probably liked more than the last half. Mostly because I like the setup. I like I know it's like the origin story type thing, but I think they do a really good job of setting up Peter Parker's or Spider-Man's origins and what Peter Parker's going through and kind of the world. But then I don't know, like the villain of like what's his the Green Goblin, he feels very. It feels like they didn't give him the same attention and build up as they did for Peter Parker. I feel like the Green Goblin just came off more as like a cartoon character to me in comparison. So for me, it was just kind of like, all right, like this is kind of like a by the numbers action movie at this point, or like superhero movie. But I did admire uh, I did admire a lot of what was going on in this movie more than I probably would have as a kid. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, this not the greatest writing, not the greatest. I mean, the directing was fine in terms of like the action sequences and like and stuff, but like I just feel like there was a lot of decisions in that movie that just felt, um, I don't know, it just felt like it didn't really, it just kind of fell flat for me a bit. Um, the second movie I think is a lot stronger, all like overall, but but I don't know. Yeah, there's something about the ending of the first movie too, where I just didn't feel like Harry had. I didn't buy his motivation that he's like, I just as soon as I see Spider-Man, I'm gonna kill him, kind of thing. Like, or like his resentment or his hatred towards Spider-Man. I get it on paper, I get it, but I didn't feel it. I didn't. I feel like they didn't do a good job of like. It just felt like very tacked on at the end. He's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be a big anti-Spider-Man person in the next movie. But once you get to the next movie, like they kind of like they kind of like set the stage better for what's going on with that and whatnot. But yeah, like the
Theo?
movies overall,
Jesse?
I don't think they're as strong as the games are so far, from what I see. In terms of the Sam Raimi movies so far, I remember I saw Spider-Man 3 in theaters also, and I remember that being very almost like a laughing stock to me, like in a way. I just keep thinking of like Dark Peter walking down the street and he's like dancing. Like I remember being in the theater. I'm like I don't understand what's going. I don't understand the hype behind this. But now I kind of have better perspective on like why people like this. I will say that I was late to Star Wars also, and I will say that they set up Peter Parker's story way better than they set up Luke Skywalker's story. I did like the whole like especially since there's kind of similar where where both characters are being looked after by their aunt and uncle in like the in the beginning or whatever. If you watch if you watch that first Star Wars movie, as soon as I mean, spoiler alert, it's a very old movie, but as soon as the aunt and uncle get killed or whatever, they immediately just like Mark Hamill's character, like Luke, is just he's just like you know what I want to be a Jedi. Like that's like but he has no emotional like there's no emotional aftermath. No, there's nothing like with Peter Parker. You feel emotion when things happen in his story, whereas where it just feels like in Star Wars, you could tell George Lucas is just like, yeah, let's just get our protagonist out into space already and have him be, use his lightsaber. Like you could tell he just wanted to get to that part already. He didn't really care about the character build up or whatever. But I digress. All right, so yeah, let me continue here. Did I pick up a card just now? Uh, Esquire. Esquire, real name Gavin Arthur, brain 60, bronze 60, affiliation none. After losing his 10th murder trial, this former prosecutor decided he'd had enough with the criminal justice system. That night, he donned a costume and dispatched the defendant, who hours earlier had walked free. Now, as Esquire, for any defendant that escapes justice, he exacts revenge equivalent to the crime. Reviled in the press and public as a lawless vigilante, but quietly praised by victims of the accused. He continues pursuing his version of justice in the shadows. Neutral villain. Interesting. Or superheroes. Or supervillains. Alright, let's get going.
Where are those two?
I do have the PlayStation app, and yeah, as soon as I platinum Spider-Man 2, I was like, yeah, let's upload this to Twitter because it's probably the last platinum game I'm gonna be uploading before it gets before like the integration is no longer supported. Should I practice are they? Is this a story thing or is it just if I wanted to practice? Um. I don't know. It wasn't letting me strum. Oh wait. Yeah, I need one more clip. I wonder why that's happening. Maybe it's something to do with Elon Musk and like how he's running Twitter. Maybe is it like a political decision for Sony and Twitter to kind of part ways, or do you think it's just maybe their contract's up and they just want to go, they want to explore different options or different partners? Maybe I don't know. Seems strange.
She had a rough night. Barely could get her to keep water down.
You should have woken me up.
Is she pregnant?
Yeah?
I get why you came out here. But we gotta take her back. She needs real care and she's not gonna get that.
Yeah, I know. I know. But I can't just leave Tommy. He's out here because of me. Maybe you could take her back.
She's not gonna leave without you.
Yeah.
Screw it. Let's get Tommy. This aquarium that girl told you about. Tommy hasn't found Abby yet. We'll post up there until he does.
And you're good with leaving Dina by herself?
Her orders.
Okay. Let's go tell her we're leaving then.
I'll just meet you up front.
Yeah. Hi. Hey, babe. I need you to lock the door for us. Okay.
Let's do it. Your map showed the aquarium along the shore. Should be down this way.
Yeah. How does anyone stay dry in this city?
It's interesting how Jesse wants to take Dina back
Help me up.
because it's what kind of makes sense for her. Ellie is not going to leave Tommy because she feels connected to. She feels responsible for why he's out here. But Dina's not going to leave Ellie.
Yeah.
So again, and Jesse is planning to just come with Ellie to find Tommy's just so they can, you know, something can get done. It's interesting how these characters kind of impact each other and they're drawn to each other, and their actions or their choices are kind of dictated based on one another. It just again it just reinforces the whole how everyone affects everyone, and it's not as simple as just like, oh, I'm gonna go this way, you're gonna go that way, and it's not as simple as that. It's the same thing with how Joel's impact on Ellie has how strong that is. But it's also it's a ripple effect. Now everyone's kind of affected by what Joel's done. It's exponential. The effects that we have on each other. Kind of interesting. But yeah, Xbox got rid of Twitter integration months ago because of falling out or whatever. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's very convenient to be able to post stuff. Thank God I can post, like, you know, things from just directly from PlayStation.
Okay, go for it.
Okay.
Thanks.
Set up one of these explosive arrow. That could work. One of the controversies on Twitter right now with Spider-Man is how they're trying to transition Miles to be the Spider-Man, and people are upset that, you know, they're saying, "Oh, Peter Parker's the real Spider-Man," though, you know, or, you know, this is all woke or whatever. And for me, it's just like, I don't care. Like, Spider-Man is whoever dons the suit, really, and with between the first game, the Miles Morales, and this game, they've honestly handled the protagonist, like the juggling of the protagonist and the transition between protagonists, way better than I say any video game really has. Like, there's a lot of video games I've played, like say like Killzone or Resistance, where they change the protagonist on you like a dime, from game to game, and it was very jarring, and it didn't really have any narrative sense to it. And I remember that being like, I didn't know if maybe it was because of external reasons, like maybe they just couldn't get the voice actor to reprise their role as the character, or was it like written that way? But like, it always felt very strange how that was set up. I imagine like
What did you
it.
show Dina?
They were hoping to find Tommy at the aquarium. I didn't tell her you knew. If that's what you're...
I wasn't.
I imagine like if you, like I never really played Metal Gear Solid 2.
I don't think so. Nora said Abby's hiding out there.
You get her to tell you why they did it?
Come on.
Yeah. Joel had falling out with some fireflies. No, former fireflies.
What kind of falling out?
He was a smuggler, and they disagreed about some goods. Fight broke out, some of them died. Guess they wanted payback.
Damn. That change anything for you?
Nope.
I need to get clear on something. When we find Tommy, you're good with going home.
Yeah,
You'll be leaving some of those assholes alive.
Dina should be back in Jackson.
Okay. Good.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, like I've never played Metal Gear Solid 2. I've seen it be played. I know you play as Raiden in that, but I imagine Hideo Kojima has more of an artistic intention why he did that compared to other games. Whereas with this, with Miles and Peter, it feels natural the way you switch between the two, and it feels like it feels important to the story that there's two Spider-Mans in the second in the games at least. And like you said, it's what like just like what Stanley said. It's like the great thing about being able to wear the Spider-Man suit is that you don't see who's behind it. It's almost like more of a symbol than or like than really who's behind the mask or anything, if anything. And honestly, after watching the movies, I'm like, isn't this what Peter Parker would have? Isn't this what fans would have wanted from Peter Parker? For him to have an opportunity to like take a break for a bit. For him to have time for his job, for his girlfriend, for a normal life. Why can't that be a good thing? Like, why can't that be like kind of like a have her cake and eat it too kind of thing? Like, and I don't think Peter Parker was like sidelined in the second game at all. Like, I felt like his story mattered too, a lot. And it's not even definitive. It's not like they're saying, "Oh, we're gonna kill him off." It's just he's just gonna. It just feels like they're just, kind of putting him to the side for a bit, and then maybe we'll explore more of Miles, and then maybe we can always come back to Peter. Spoiler. I maybe this is like a spoiler or whatever, but it just seems like they kind of set it up where it's just like they don't want it where Miles needs to depend on Peter. But Peter is always willing to help if it comes to that. And to me, that doesn't say that Peter's gone or that Peter's going to stop being Spider-Man. It just means Miles is going to carry a little bit of the weight for maybe like the third game or so. And that's fine. As long as it makes sense narratively and it's not forced or whatever, then it's not really a big deal. Probably one of the most intense games though I've ever played, in terms of like combat and and especially like what happens in that game. And I feel like that last third of the game is like it's just like non-stop engagement. Really cool direction that they go in. Really enjoyed that game. So Miles is going to be the main character of future DLC. Possibly, like, which isn't the worst thing in the world. If a third game was able to have both of them again, then I'm all for that. If it's just a little bit more Miles focused, whatever. Like, we already have two games that are, both of these games, they're not exactly alike, but they are Spider-Man games. They play like you would expect a Spider-Man game to play. You're gonna get a lot of bang for your buck between that and Miles Morales, the Miles Morales standalone game also. So I don't know why people get so hung up on like, oh no, like, but whatever. I think people just like to complain. Is there anything in this little area? Nope. Okay. Open area. Let's see where we're going. Let's see if there's anything down here first. Do I have a... Yeah, I don't have anything to hit people with, so I guess I'll take this. It wouldn't make sense for them to pull a Joel on a Spider-Man game anyway. That's just not. It's not what Spider-Man is. Like, this game's trying to tell a totally different story. Alright, let's keep moving. I think this is an area we can do something with. Oh, was he gonna tell me to do that? I don't know. This is probably like a dead end, and then they were gonna go through here. Okay. I have to say, when I was platinuming the game, I was afraid that I was gonna have to start a new game in order to get the stealth. Because one of the last things I got for the platinum was use the web line in stealth, like take stealth, like to use stealth takedowns with the web line. For some reason, I didn't feel myself needing it, as cool as it is. I didn't feel myself needing it in the actual you know, the stealth encounters that you come across in the game, like the bases, the hunter bases, and the hunter blinds. I used it a bit, but not enough. And then I was like, oh god, do I have to like start the game over in order to do more, in order to get those? But thankfully, and it was a little annoying, but thankfully you can use the crimes. I think whenever you came across the crime, the devil something or whatever, it allowed you to use the web line.
I see a light through here.
Not every crime would let you use it because you weren't always in stealth, and you can only use it if you're Miles and go into like invisibility mode. But I eventually got that, so it was good. I got one of the trophies completely by accident, and it definitely is one of those trophies that I feel like you would have had to look it up if you didn't get it by the end of the game, because it is a very random trophy. But I literally, by myself, without knowing what the trophy was, I ran the bases on the baseball field by myself. I didn't know it was a trophy at all because it was a hidden trophy. I didn't even know it was a trophy, and thankfully I was on the right field because there are several baseball fields in the game, but somehow I was just on the right field, and I was like, yeah, let's run the bases.
You ever worried they're gonna come back to Jackson after us?
What do you mean?
I mean, we're going through a lot of their people. In their city.
Because of what they did.
Didn't Abby and her friends come to Jackson for something Joel did?
This place isn't like Jackson. I mean, Joel and Tommy helped Abby when she got attacked. These people are trying to kill everyone around them. I mean, they shot you on sight, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Ellie is so short-sighted. Her argument is that, oh, they helped
How long has
Abby.
Tina been this sick?
Only a couple days. When we first got here, she fucked up a bunch of wolves. You'd have been impressed.
I bet. You don't cross that girl.
Ellie's argument is that Joel and Tommy were trying to help Abby, and that makes them different people than Abby feeling like you know, it's we're all the same, we're all evil, we're all good in a world like this where we feel like our actions are justified, you know. Just because they were helping her in that moment doesn't mean they weren't killing a bunch of other people, especially Joel, as smugglers or, you know. But Ellie has a very limited view on the world, I feel like, at this point. But nothing is as black and white. That's just another theme that they're just beating you over the head with here. Should I go underneath here? Let's see what we got. Oh, workbench. Question, when you played Metal Gear Solid, did you use a guide? I don't think I did. I think there might have been some things I was like, what the hell needs to happen here? But it wasn't like I honestly wasn't using like I wasn't going out of my way to use one at all. Like I honestly was trying to avoid it at all costs. That's usually how I play. But I can't really recall because I know when I got to Psycho Mantis, I didn't use a guide. I kind of just figured it out at one point because I think at some point they told me what I needed to do. Every 2 minutes, I'm pulling out a guide. Oh, so you're still playing the first one, right? Yeah, because that's the only game I've ever played so far. But yeah, there are things that it's definitely not your typical shooter or stealth game. There's a lot of like subversive, creative things that you need to kind of do. What do we have here? Tormentra, real name Iris Ocampo, brains 80, brawn 80, affiliation none. Once a kind, empathetic teenager, Tormentra was always bullied for being soft. But everything changed when a latent genetic mutation emerged, allowing her to convert the mental anguish of others into kinetic energy. The worse the pain, the more powerful the result. Now her day job as a criminal psychologist allows her to absorb the worst things in people's lives and use it as literal ammo against those who persecuted her. Many suspect Tormentra of feeding off the hurt of those who got in the way of her prior outbursts, creating a never-ending cycle of suffering. Neutral villain. You killed the ninja. Oh, what's his name? Cyborg Ninja or something, or what? I think that's his name. Yeah, that fight was probably one of the first fights that gave me a lot of trouble. But I kind of figured it out. I don't think I ever used a guide on that. I kind of figured it out as I was going along. Let's see what the... Do we have any upgrades we can do? I think I was just like throwing grenades around a lot. There's different phases to that fight that were kind of interesting. Alright, I got two things I can do. My shotgun or my bow and arrow. I feel like my bow and arrow... I feel like you should always leave your shotgun for last. We have these, but I can finish it off at least. Capacity would be good. 50. What are my... What's my bow and arrow situation, Sam? Draw speed. Yeah, you know, the draw speed has been so bad so far for me. Restring the bow to increase draw speed. Because my draw speed is very slow. You know what? I need to be able to use this thing. Let's get that going. Do I have any pills I can do also? Craft more smoke bombs. I don't really need smoke bombs. Improved silencers. That could help. I'm so not used to this UI. Listen mode range. Hold breath. Craft more arrows. Okay. Improved Molotovs. Increase the effectiveness of your Molotovs, spreading fire in a wider radius. That could be useful. Craft more trap mines, craft more explosives. What was the other thing? Improve silencers. I guess this could work. Yeah, let's keep our stealth going good. Molotovs are more of a last resort thing, or like if I'm around clickers. Alright, let's keep it like that. It's good that you got to that part though, you know. That game, like, I would play that game again in a second, I think. It really was fun. Really awesome, very smart type of story for what Kojima's telling, in that, you know, the politics of it and all that. Do I want? See what we have here.
Give me a hand.
I'm debating getting that master collection, but I'm still on the fence. I feel like I need to do my research, see if I prefer to get the master collection or get the legacy collection on PS3. I think both will get you trophies, so that's not a big deal. But you're getting more games in the PS3 one, and I heard that there's some little things that make it a better collection, I guess. But I'll have to look into it. See what we got here.
Okay.
Through here. I just gotta ask. Why didn't she tell me about it? The pregnancy.
Listen, I'm sure she'll tell you about it when she...
Going down today. All the units are being rounded up.
Who did you hear it from?
We'll make sure this area is clear, wait for the other units. And then take the fight to the start.
The last time...
It won't be like
They set me up with these stealth weapons at the right time.
I'm nervous.
We're all nervous.
They have the whole coast covered. They're gonna shoot us out of the goddamn water.
Hey, have faith.
You sound like them.
Don't act like there's a choice, man. Think of it.
Laura! Fucking ambush! Think it came from over there!
The truck! God damn it! Push in!
That's gotta hurt.
Don't go that way!
Who? Alright.
I know you're out there. Found you!
Come on, Jesse, do something. There we go.
That'll do it. These wolves, man. So trigger happy.
They're at war with this fucked up cult.
Heard them talk about Seraphons or something, Seraphites.
Scars is all I've heard them called. You run into any?
No.
You're lucky.
Again, that's something in the third game of this. If there's a Last of Us Part 3, I hope they make it so that there's encounters where it's not all about being trigger happy, where maybe they, you know, maybe we can lead each other on that we're going to be allies, or maybe we will be allies, like if strangers we come across. But say someone, it would be cool if they give you the option to be like, you know what, I'll go along to get along before, where I don't exactly have to kill you right away. I'll listen to like demands, or like I'll follow your lead. Like if an enemy, you know, says like, "Oh, do this, you're coming with us," or whatever, and you can kind of go along with it to the point where you have the choice to be like, you know what, this whatever you're trying to do with me, like it's like, or like maybe you think you captured me or something, like you can lead them on and be, or like agree that, you know, I'm on your side or something, or just to get past an area or something. It'd be cool if there was like an option like that. Ellie dies. See, now here's the thing. It's now that Spider-Man 2, I've completed it. And by the way, I did like the what's it called? The Mysterion combat stuff, and I didn't. I went for the gold medals, thinking that would be a trophy, and it wasn't. I remember that being a trophy in one of the games, like Miles Morales for the first game, maybe I forget which one. But this time it wasn't required for you to get gold. But I did do it. Like some of them gave me a little bit of a headache. And because of the challenge of it, especially like the ones where you had to beat it. Like there was one where you had to beat everybody in a minute, and that one was really tough, especially since you had to stay on these platforms, in order to fight them. But I'm kind of glad I did it for the challenge of it, I guess. What was I gonna say? But now that I've done that, it just feels like I don't know what else is on the horizon. Like I don't know what else for next year. What's gonna be what to anticipate or what to, you know, expect. So yeah, I wanted to get a lot of it out of the way. And then if some were giving me trouble, then I was like, let me just wait to the end of the game before I do that. Let's keep it moving. Yeah, I have no idea, and that's why, you know, I'm looking forward to Jeff Keighley's thing. See what what could be revealed or whatever. want to see what's up here. Oh yeah, I have the Persona 3 remake on pre-order. Okay. Oh, it's a remake, right? Yeah. Alright, that's good. When does that come out? Oh, dope. Next year, February, same as Final Fantasy 7. Okay.
What's up with all these posters?
It's a bunch of comics. Wait, what was happening here?
A gathering for people who were really into this stuff. Like you, basically.
We were born in the wrong time, man.
Comic-Con. The one thing I do know about that I might pick up is Helldivers 2, because if it's one thing is it's exclusive to Sony, and it's gonna be on PC, but it's also it's taking the first game. The first game was more of a top-down perspective, and this is more of like a third-person action online game, and I think it's going to be crossplay. So I very much believe it's going to be crossplay. So that could be something that I can get, and that's coming out in February. But I want to wait and see what the reviews say and I want to at least confirm that it's crossplay, because I'd rather play with a lot of my friends who are on PC. And please, it might not happen, but please, Spyro 4. Yeah. That's my main thing, like, going into the Game Awards, is seeing what... honestly, I think it's the time. It feels so right for them to do. And you could see, like, there's, like, retailers, like, Walmart's Twitter handles from, like, different countries are always tweeting things about Spyro recently. There's little things like that are just, like, you could tell they're ramping up for something, and with all the evidence that we know about, and it just feels like the time's right for that. And by the way, I've noticed that reviews are coming out for that Nickelodeon All-Stars game, the second game, and it's getting really great reviews. Like, pretty much they, like, fixed everything that was wrong with the first game, and more. Like, IGN, I think, gave it a 9. Which says a lot, coming from IGN. That might be a game to look into. I know you're gonna get that.
What were you saying? Before? About Dina. You said she'll tell me when...
Once things are wrapped up here.
I guess at some point it'll get pretty hard to hide it. You know if she's gonna keep it?
I don't.
Yeah, but you have to remember, I see a lot of people getting so hung up about these numbers that they give out. It's different reviewers, different genre, different type of game, different... There's so many factors of the opinion that goes into what makes these, what comes the final say of these scores. And the scores are just scores too. It's just like, it's really like, I think for it to be a 9, it tells me that the game is a huge step up from the first game. Like, the leap between the first game and the second game is like astronomically better. Whereas when you play Spider-Man 2 and it's an 8, and 8 is a great game, but do you really think Spider-Man 2 is lighting the world on fire compared to the first game? Yes, there's improvements. The traversal's better. but the combat's basically the same. The story is different, and honestly, I might prefer the story. I might love the story more than the first game, but I don't think it's like revolutionary. Like when God of War 2018 came out and it was getting like tens, that made sense to me because that was revolutionary. They reinvented the character, they reinvented the way the game, the genre of the way the game is. It's not like a hack and slash thing anymore. It's more of like a, you know, more of like this. But they also reinvented Kratos. They reinvented it in a different mythology. That was taking that's taking something and making it leaps and bounds more impressive. Like, and plus, like God of War, like it was like a track. Like there's this like tracking shot, like 100% throughout the whole game. Whereas then when you play Ragnarok, Ragnarok's really great too, but it's still God of War. Like it's still the same. I mean, it's still awesome, but it's just like it's not really. I don't know. Like for me, and giving Spider-Man 2 an 8 is like fair. Ragnarok got 10s too. Maybe it's because of the whole story. Maybe it was very. Maybe there was hype there, you know. And obviously there's bias, and there's always gonna come down to stuff that you agree with or disagree with. But when people say like, "Oh, Nickelodeon All Stars got a 9 and Starfield got a 7," and Spider-Man got an 8, like for me, like there's so many factors that go into a review, and I feel like the criteria for Nickelodeon All Stars is based on they're comparing it to the first game and what people are expecting of that type of game. They're not expecting it to It doesn't necessarily have to be like the biggest most innovative game ever, but I think in comparison of what consumers are looking for in a Nickelodeon All Stars game, it's probably leaps and bounds better. It's probably incredible compared to that first game. Whereas Spider-Man 2, it's like it was more or less what you would have expected from a sequel. And it's better. It's definitely tweaked better, but it's not like lighting the world on fire in terms of how
Look at this mess.
much more insane it is than the first game.
The aquarium.
It's just a great game.
Next to that Ferris wheel.
He's hoping Tommy has the same info.
But I get it. There is some hypocrisies
Looks like we're
to
swimming.
reviews and all that, and I can see how people can get kind of question it and want to be like, "Hey, what the hell?" Like, but for me, I'm just like, yeah, whatever. People have their opinions. They're not always going to line up perfectly with not just with what I think, but with sometimes it's just not going to make sense, you know, compared to what they've done in the past or what they've said in the past, or you know, they can contradict themselves. You could say the same for Ragnarok. You're right. I agree with you there that you can say the same for Ragnarok. It really was more or less the same game as the original game, except the story is progressing and it's becoming more epic. But that's just the story. You know, the game itself isn't really like. But didn't Ragnarok get a lesser score than? Like, didn't it get a lesser score than 2018's game? I mean, sure, it did get a lot of more 9s and 10s again, but I'm willing to bet if you look at that Metacritic that the 2018 game might be scored higher because of how impressive it was at the time, how innovative it was when it came out. Oh, there's something down here. Parts. And something, but I can't really see. I think some type of craftable. Alright, it's a brick. Forget it. Where do I want to go? I'm guessing I'll go where Jesse is.
Where now?
Oh god. This,
Affected.
this just awakened a memory. Let's check it out.
There's a stock over there.
Oh, I like how Jesse pointed that out to me.
To the right!
Move, Jesse, move! Woo! Yeah, with clickers I don't mess around. It's shotgun time.
I don't hear anything.
I don't. I only have one bullet
it?
left though.
Yeah, I think so.
What's the best option here? Let's keep the shotgun out, but let's keep this out, I guess. I don't know. Why do I feel like we're not done here yet? We haven't even gotten into the arena combat area yet. But I like how Jesse pointed him out to me, and it kind of had like a little cursor on the stalker. Let's see. I hear something. I want to smash this car, but I feel like I'm gonna awaken the undead. Is this a person or a... Oh, let's see.
We got more!
Are we good?
Okay, now that's it.
This place looks like a dead end.
Yeah,
I'll take this
You're
over
right.
the wood. What we got here? To whatever sorry asshole finds me, can barely keep my hand steady, but everyone on base needs to know. I got ambushed on my way to relieve Misha at the monorail lookout. One of the scars, I'd swear he looks just like our boy Gray. Fuck, I'm so lightheaded. Someone please put a bullet in that fucking snake's face for me, and tell Mish I'm sorry, I tried to hustle. Jensen. Interesting. Guess this is Jensen. We have a... Oh, we have full health, okay. I feel like now I'm gonna like dip into my backlog a bit of games I already own, of games I haven't really completed yet. There's some games I have, like God of War Ascension. I haven't even beat the game yet because I got to a point where it was really tough. And then there's some like 100% completion stuff, like Ratchet and Clank games I haven't completed. Not Rift Apart, the original trilogy. Maybe Death Stranding I can get back into. There's some stuff I can do. Like, that platinum is possible for me, Death Stranding. I just need to kind of figure out what I need to do a bit. But yeah, seems like that will be the plan until... Unless I decide to make a decision on Metal Gear, of what Metal Gear version to get. I'm gonna do the same after I'm done with Metal Gear Solid. Yeah, you know, I feel like it... I don't, like... I have this urge to just find a new game to buy, But I'm like, you know what? I should really like kind of just slow down a bit and focus on the games that I already have and try to
Team
revisit
Jackson.
them.
Fuck these motherfuckers.
Couldn't have said it better.
All right, so we got past this part at least. I'm kind of confused where. I'm gonna take that high five as a save point, and hope that it saves me in the same spot and I don't get confused, because this area is very confusing. Whenever they have these up and down areas with the cars all over the place, I lose track of where I'm supposed to go. But it looks like I'm supposed to go, I guess, wherever Jesse's going. I don't know why he's going this way. Maybe there's a way. I mean, didn't we come from here? Like, that's how confused I am. Alright. Anyway, I think we'll end it. Figured I'd go a little longer than an hour because I kind of talked a lot. But anyway, for now, I don't know. I guess I'm gonna go back to Crash Team Rumble and maybe work on Cat Bat a bit while I listen to a podcast, or maybe find a new game that I already own to kind of revisit. I'll have to see. It's gonna be a long month before the Game Awards, so anyway. Pulpa Pig, it's been a pleasure. Anyone out there who wants to like, comment, or subscribe, it's greatly appreciated. You can subscribe to Kev Plays 9490 on YouTube, or follow me on Twitter at Let's Watch Series. And I will catch you all next time. Be sure to stay safe, stay healthy, keep a clear head, and yep, like I said, I'll catch you next time. Peace out.